What the Buddha Taught by Walpola Rahula. Text. Setting in motion the wheel of truth. Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta. The first sermon of the Buddha. Thus have I heard. The Blessed One was once living in the deer park at Isapatana, the resort of seers, near Varanasi, Benares. There he addressed the group of 5 bhikkhus. Bhikkhus, these two extremes ought not to be practiced by one who has gone forth from the household life. What are the two? There is devotion to the indulgence of sense pleasures, which is low, common, the way of the ordinary people, unworthy and unprofitable. And there is devotion to self-mortification, which is painful, unworthy, and unprofitable. Quote, continue, upquote. Avoiding both these extremes, the Tathagata has realized the middle path. It gives vision, it gives knowledge, and it leads to calm, to insight, to enlightenment, to nibbana. And what is that middle path? It is simply the Noble Eightfold Path, namely, right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This is the middle path realized by the Tathagata, which gives vision, which gives knowledge, and which leads to calm, to insight, to enlightenment, to nibbana. The noble truth of suffering, dukkha, is this. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow and lamentation, pain, grief, and despair are suffering. Association with the unpleasant is suffering. Disassociation from the pleasant is suffering. Not to get what one wants is suffering. In brief, the 5 aggregates of attachment are suffering. The noble truth of the origin of suffering is this. It is this thirst, craving, which produces re-existence and re-becoming, bound up with passionate greed. It finds fresh delight now here and now there, namely, thirst for sense pleasures, thirst for existence and becoming, and thirst for non-existence, self-annihilation. The noble truth of the cessation of suffering is this. It is the complete cessation of that very thirst, giving it up, renouncing it, emancipating oneself from it, detaching oneself from it. The noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering is this. It is simply the Noble Eightfold Path, namely, right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This is the noble truth of suffering, dukkha. Such was the vision, the knowledge, the wisdom, the science, the light that arose in me with regard to things not heard before. This suffering, as a noble truth, should be fully understood. Such was the vision, the knowledge, the wisdom, the science, the light that arose in me with regard to things not heard before. This suffering as a noble truth has been fully understood. Repeats. This is the noble truth of the origin of suffering. Such was the vision, etc. This origin of suffering, as a noble truth, should be abandoned. Such was the vision, etc. This origin of suffering, as a noble truth, has been abandoned. Such was the vision, etc., with regards to things not heard before. This repeats for the 3rd and 4th noble truths as well. Continue, quote. As long as my vision of true knowledge was not fully clear in these 3 aspects, in these 12 ways regarding the Four Noble Truths, I did not claim to have realized the perfect enlightenment that is supreme in the world with its gods, with its maras and brahmas, in this world with its recluses and brahmanas, with its princes and men. Footnote. As may be seen from the 4 preceding paragraphs, with regard to each of the Four Noble Truths, there are 3 aspects of knowledge. 1. The knowledge that is the truth, satyananya. 2. The knowledge that a certain function or action with regard to this truth should be performed, kichananya. And 3. The knowledge that what the function or action with regard to this truth has been performed, katanyanya. When these 3 aspects are applied to each of the Four Noble Truths, 12 ways are obtained. End of footnote. Continue of quote. But when my vision of true knowledge was fully clear in these 3 aspects, in these 12 ways, regarding the Four Noble Truths, then I claimed to have realized the perfect enlightenment that is supreme in the world with its gods, its maras, and brahmas, in this world with its recluses and brahmanas, with its princes and men. And a vision of true knowledge arose in me thus: my heart's deliverance is unassailable. This is the last birth. Now there is no more rebecoming, rebirth. End of quote. This the Blessed One said. The group of 5 bhikkhus was glad, and they rejoiced at his words. Samyutta Nikaya, LVI 11. End of section.